Hello, welcome back, or welcome along, or if you're new, or if you're not new, whatever, welcome anyway. So here we are now with part 6 of the build of the beautiful 1/6 scale Mustang GT500 from DeAgostini. You can see the poster behind me there. That's actually a full-size poster. It's about 750 millimeters long. It's huge. And today we've got packs 14 and 15 to look at. I've received 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Today we're going to look at parts 14 and 15. Otherwise we'll have a mega long video and then we'll have nothing for a few weeks. So I'd rather just do this now, and and then we'll do another one in a couple of weeks, so it breaks it up for you. So we've got parts 14, or pack 14. So pack 14 is, again, we've got the door. So we've got I almost said driver's door then. It's actually the passenger door. It's the right hand door anyway. You can see this is in this lovely protective plastic box. And then we've got part 15, which is the door card and some trim to go on there. And you can see also with pack 14, we've got mirror and we've got some other bits and pieces to go together as well. So without further ado, we've also got something else to look at. We've got a free gift, a little bonus gift. So I've had a quick look and it's very, very nice. So especially if you own a Mustang, like I do. So without further ado, let's listen to my engine for a second and get down to the bench. So without further ado, let's have a look at this magazine. We've got number 14 now, or pack 14. So I haven't looked at these magazines yet, so I don't know what to expect. Basically, rallying the Mustang, and there we can see that looks like a 66 or 67, is it? Being rallied there, and that one is in the 1960. Well, there must be a 66 there, 1966 Monte Carlo Rally. So those that say Mustangs can't go around corners, they can. And also, the Ford Mustang is the current British GT4 champion. So there we go. There you are. So those that say Mustangs can't handle and everything, they can if you play with them a little bit. And then here we've got a Ford Cortina. The snow that covered several winding stretches of the 1966 Monte Carlo Rally was far from ideal for a relatively large heavy car such as the Mustang. In contrast to another Ford, the Lotus Cortina was well suited. So yeah, you can imagine trying to drive a Mustang when there must have been like trying to drive a snail over an oily tile. There we go. Mustang drivers Peter Proctor and Andrew Cowan after the victory of the 1964 Tour de France. Bloody hell. There we go. So here we've got the instructions on building the model, so we'll come back to those in a second. And then for the second part of the magazine, we've got the street legal Ford GT40. Of course, this was the GT40. The later one was just the GT. Sporting and technical regulations forced Ford to build GT40 street versions. Contrary to what one might think, finding a buyer for them was no simple task. Blimey, I find that hard to believe, especially these days. They're worth millions, aren't they? So it had less power. It still had a 4.7 litre V8, but it had less power. Power was reduced to 335 horsepower at 6,250 RPM. You can see there a lovely comfy interior, gear stick there on the side. Lovely. We've got the headlights all closed in. Very, very beautiful. And there's only 7 of these. These are the Mark III units. Here we are. Absolutely gorgeous looking car, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. Little commercial success. All 20 units built ended up finding a buyer, but in every case for an amount that did not reach the initial $16,000 purchase price. Bloody hell. Anyway, right. Let's get the light on. Let's get some parts out. We don't have the light on when we've got the magazine on the bench because it makes it, as you can see, it makes it quite difficult to see. So, we've got a freebie there to have a look at afterwards. We mustn't forget that. So, right door. So this is what we get with pack 14. As you can see, we've got the actual door itself. We've got mirror stand, the mirror, the door handle, the door opening mechanism, and a bundle of screws. So first things first, just like we do with the Lancaster. If you haven't seen, I'm actually doing the Hatchet Lancaster as well. It's another part work. I generally do plastic scale models, but I thought I'd have a go at some of these part works because this one, I'm absolutely a Mustang fan. And as a lot of you will know, the Lancaster, I am also a massive Lancaster fan, especially the Dam Busters. So, let's see if I can get this apart. Come on. go. Oh, blimey. Right, so here we have our door and we have all our bits and pieces. So check all the parts against here. So we can see we've got all these parts here. We've got all our screws. So we've got PS12, yes, PS9, yes, and DS13, yes. So the PS and the DS and everything, the S means steel, so they're going into metal. So we need to make sure that we get plenty of oh no, it doesn't. I thought it meant they're going into metal. Well, maybe it does. I can't remember. I thought they were, the P was the plastic. Maybe that's plastic and the D is for die cast. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll stop waffling. Right, so we'll get our door out. So the first thing I'm going to do, we've got to fit part 14G, which is a tiny little lock cylinder in the lowest of the 3 holes on the outside of the right door as shown in the picture. Insert it as far as it will go, turn the door around, and from the inside secure the cylinder with a PS12 screw. So we'll get a PS12 screw, which is this little one here. So there'll be spare ones of these, as always. You only need one and they give you 2. If you need 2, they give you 3. You always get a spare. So we're going to take the door out of the packaging. As beautiful it is. And lovely, lovely paintwork. Really, really nice. And what we're going to do, we're going to grab, just like usual, we're going to use a soft cloth. It's not particularly clean, but it's soft. And that'll save us scratching the paint. So we can put that on there. So we need part 14G, which is a tiny little door lock piece. So I'm going to grab my tweezers. Here's part 14G, I believe. I'm looking at that. And it should have a hole in it, but it doesn't have a hole in the back. So I don't quite understand what's going on here. They're telling us to secure it with a screw. Oh yes, it does. So it's because of the reflection of the chrome. It does have a hole in the back. So that part's going to go in there. It's D-shaped, so it fits in there easily. We're going to grab a PS12 screw. So obviously the P is for plastic. I'm going to stick that on the screwdriver. I'm going to pick this up. And we're going to plonk that in that hole. And then we're just going to turn the screw until it stops. Not try and graunch it up or anything. Just turn the screw until it stops. It doesn't really matter if that's moving around a touch even. Just don't go graunching it, stripping the thread, splitting the plastic, whatever. Okay, so we've done that part. Now the next part is to next position the right side mirror arm. So we've got the mirror arm here. Out. On the back of the right side mirror holder. This looks like it's got some tiny little scratches on it. Just see if I can polish those out. No, tiny little scratches. Not going to worry about that too much. So that's going to get positioned on there, like so. Okay, make sure it's the right way up. So when you look at it, like it's going to sit on the door like that. Make sure it's not that way up. Make sure it's the right way up, like so. The tab on the arm should fit in the notch in the mirror, ensuring that the mounting orientation is correct. So don't put it that way up. Okay, put it that way up. All right. And then we're going to take a PS09 screw. So obviously, as I say, the P is for plastic. So we'll take a PS09 screw. So we'll get that on the get rid of that bit of plastic there. We'll get that on the screwdriver ready. This is not the screwdriver that comes with the kit. This is it's an aftermarket screwdriver. So we can hold that in position like so. And we can put that screw in there. And again, you can just tighten it until it stops. So no point in graunching anything up and snapping things. So we've done that now. Right, now press the rear view mirror 14K into position on the right side mirror holder. 2 pins in the right side fit in the sockets of the rear view mirror. So we've got the mirror here. It's got a protective film on the front. I'm going to leave that on. So that's just going to go on there like that. And just press in and that's it, job done. Now, as I say, I'm leaving this protective film on the front so it doesn't get scratched or anything. And that's what it says there. They recommend not removing it. Now resume work on the door and place the door handle 14H. So we're going to put this to one side. Okay, so we're going to take the door handle 14H, is here, and position on the upper left side of the outside of the door to ensure the correct orientation of the handle. The handle has a thin pin and a thick pin, so you can't get it wrong. Okay, so it's going to go in like that. And then we're going to turn it over, put the handle in place and secure from the inside with a PS09 screw. So we're going to put a PS09 screw in that hole there. So grab one of these screws, it's the bigger of the two that we've just used. So we can grab that screw and stick that one in there, just like so. There we are. There we go. Right, so that's that door handle firmly in place. So we can go over the page now in our book. And the next thing, place the right side mirror arm 14L in the slot at the top of the door. Orient the arm so that the mirror is in place. The rear view mirror faces the door handle. Turn the door around and secure the mirror arm from the inside with two DS13 screws. Right, so here's where we start to get technical. Now, these are actually screws for going into metal. And I'll show you the difference if you're not an engineer or engineering orientated. You can see on here, this is what's called a machine screw. Okay, so it has a thread. This is a tapping screw, so this cuts its own thread. So this sort of screw here is designed for going into plastic. This sort of screw here is designed for going onto a nut or into metal or something. Now what they will have you do, and all these partwork companies are the same, they will have you just put that screw into metal. It's these two here. I don't like just graunching screws in. You risk snapping the head off, like you do with the pocket kits. You risk snapping the head off, and it's just not correct. It's not the thing to do. You don't just graunch screws. You wouldn't, wind a nut onto a bolt that has no thread in it. Just by forcing it on with a spanner. You would make sure it's got a thread cut in it first. So for doing that, I'm going to use something called a tap. Now these are the Toolzone 31 piece mini high speed steel tap and die set. You can get these for peanuts on Amazon. It doesn't have to be this exact set, but what you need, I think it's M2.5, I think is the size of the screw. Let's have a look. Let's have a look on here. That's 1.8. Okay, so I was wrong. Yeah, 1.8. So we're going to get our 1.8mm tap from in here, which will be, you can see it's written on there, so we're going to use this one here. Now in the bottom of here, if you get a tap set, generally they will have a first tap or a taper tap and a bottoming tap. And if you look on here, this is actually what's going to cut our thread. And if you look on here, the one on the left has no threads at the bottom and the one on the right does. This one is for tapping into a hole where it's going to be going deep. This one is a bottoming tap. So because these holes aren't very deep, that is going to do nothing. So we don't need that one. And then what we're going to do, we're not going to use the tap wrench that's given to you in the set. I'm going to use a pin vise. Okay, you can use any pin vise, it doesn't have to be one like this. And the reason I'm using a pin vise is it's much easier to guide it and keep it straight. Okay, now you can put some oil on there if you want to. I don't like using oil on models because oil tends to creep, as you know, and it will sort of start appearing everywhere. And all we're going to do is just come in here and gently turn this in. Now if you were doing this in a hard steel or something, you would go one turn, half back, one turn, half back. But because this is just a soft die cast metal, we don't need to worry about doing that. So we can just come along, screw that in, just like so. Okay, so there we go. And we just go in, and as you can see, because we're not using a tap wrench, when we get to the bottom, the pin vise is turning on the tap. So you know you're not going to damage anything, you're not going to snap anything. Okay, and then just blow out the threads and make sure, I shouldn't have done that over this cloth because now we may get scratches on the paint, but what I'll do is turn the cloth over just to make sure. So blow out those threads, and now what we've got here is a proper thread okay, you can see in there is a proper thread rather than just graunching it into a hole. So what we can do is place that screw in there, and as you can see, it goes in really easy rather than having to graunch it in. Okay, so that's my recommendation for doing things properly. If you want to graunch them in, it's fine, but you do run the risk of snapping the heads. And if you get a head snap off and you've got it left down in there, what are you going to do? You're stuck. So this is going to go in here like so. Okay, he says it's a snug fit in there. So that's going to go in there, and then we're going to pick up one of these, what were these screws? These were DS13, weren't they? And then there's going to be one in there. Again, these are got a countersink on them, so make sure you don't go over tighten them. You can see there's a chamfer on there. It's like where it's designed to go into a countersunk hole. And what that will do here, if you over tighten these screws, it will actually split the plastic apart, because you can imagine as it goes in, it's trying to wedge the plastic. So just do them until they stop. Don't go graunching them up. Okay, and that mirror's in there absolutely fine. It's secure. It's not going anywhere. So that's that. Right, now we have to be careful not to push down too hard on the door, because we will snap the mirror off. Okay, so next, place the inner lock flange 14D on the two protrusions on the inside of the door 14A. So it's these two protrusions here. Position so that it lies flat on the inside of the door. Attach the flange to the door with two DS13 screws. Okay, so we're going to take this flange piece here and we're going to put it in there. So what we're going to do here, once again, we're going to come along with our tap and we're going to cut a thread. And I'm doing it over that cloth again, aren't I? Okay, just keep going in, and then the tap stops. There's our thread done. And what I'll do, rather than go off the camera, I'll move the cloth and you can see what I'm doing. Go in there, literally just turn it. It's just like drilling a hole. Just keep going until the tap stops. Go, come out. There we are, our threads are cut. Hey, just so professional, isn't it? It's the best way to do things. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing properly. And cutting a thread in metal is the proper thing to do. So again, don't go graunching them up, you'll just start breaking things. And then we're going to put that screw into there. Oops. Just like so. I don't know if you saw my video the other day, guys. This is actually available in America now. So it seems to make sense having a Mustang GT500 in 6 scale available in the United States, doesn't it? So yeah, you can get one of these now if you live in the United States. So that'll make you happy. Right, there we go. So that's like that. Now then, next we are going to place the door release button 14C in the slot inside the door as shown in the picture. Insert it as far as it will go. So we've got this door release button is going to go into there like that. Okay, so that is the door release button, and you can see it's got this little wedge on it. This is going to be outer, so this is going to go through the door handle. Okay, so you've got a door release button there that you can push in it, and that'll open the door. Insert the long end of the lock bar 14B. This is our lock bar 14B into the door mechanism spring 14F. Here is the spring. So that's going to go into there like so. Okay, now insert the end of the lock bar with the spring on it into the inner lock flange D, 14D, this one here. The short end of the bar fits into a notch in the side of the door. Position the opening mechanism with this embracing the short end of the bar as shown in the left. Right. Okay, we're going to be using a screw to fasten this, and the screw is going to go into that hole there. So once again, we're going to take our tap wrench, we're going to move our cloth, and we're going to tap that hole there. Okay, so we just cut that out, cut the thread in there, which is great. There we go. blow the thread out. There we go. And when I blew it then, I just blew the knob out. So if I can't find it straight away, I found it straight away, so I'm not going to bother turning the camera off. Right, so that can go into there. And then this is going to press into here. Okay, so that's going to go into there like so, and then that's going to go over and go into there. And you can see that as we press this handle on the outside, it's going to move that lever back, okay, and allow us to open the door. Alright, so we're now going to put this part here, 14E, over this assembly, like so. Like that. And then we've got one screw going into there. So one DS13 screw is going to go into there. Screw it into the thread we've just cut, so we're not doing any graunching or anything. Just screw the screw up until it stops. There we go. And now we've got our, you can see we've got our door opening mechanism. Just like so. Okay. So that's that all done. One more quick check. Check on the screws, they're all good. Everything's good, yes. Those are good. Yep, everything's hunky-dory. So there we go, we've got our right hand door mirror and our handle and door opening mechanism all done. So let's have a look at part 50 or pack 15. Okay, so we finished with 14, so now we can put this into our nice little box. We've got this lovely little storage box that goes on the shelf, and we can store all our magazines in there, and it keeps them all neat and tidy and keeps them all together. So that's another little extra they give you with the if you subscribe. So we've got that out of the way over there. Put that out of the way over there. Right. Now, one other little suggestion. As you saw down here, we had the spare screws. What I do, I've got an old Tamiya paint jar. You can use an old Ziploc bag or something, but keep all your screws. Keep them all together. They're always come in handy. It's easy to identify what is what when you just go back on your model and look at, you know, if you want to know, if you need a PS13, just go back through the magazines, find out where a PS13 was fitted, go back, have a look at the screw, and then find the equivalent from there. So that's something I do, is keep all my screws in an old Tamiya jar. So let's have a look at part 15, or pack 15. So in here we have all our information here from where you can get this and everything, customer services. As I say, this is now available in the USA, so well worth knowing. So, the Cobra Jet, a legend returns. So, I think people call it Cobra Jet in America, but I'm not sure. Let me know, if you're American, let me know. Do you call it Cobra or Cobra? Basically, it's all about the Shelby snake, isn't it? So, in 1968, Cobra Jet was identifiable by the large air scoop in the centre of the hood. Ford initially planned to release a limited edition of 50 units that year, but in the end the company and Shelby together built more than 2,800 powered by the Cobra Jet engine. So it was a 428 cubic inch 7 litre V8, developing a 411 brake horsepower in its naked state on the test bed, and 335 horsepower when installed in the car and fitted with the necessary ancillaries. It just shows how things have come on. The 5 litre Mustang of 2017, which is what I've got, which is a 302 cubic inch, is 415 horsepower, and it's detuned UK standard. I think it's 425 in America, and that's with everything. So they got a 7 litre producing 335 in 68, and in 2017 we've got a 5 litre producing 425, and as they went on up to 2023 they got even more powerful. 2024 I don't think really counts because it's got the twin plenums, but whatever. Opinions may vary, as our lovely Queen once said. A wide range of optional components supplied by Ford Racing made it possible to personalise each Mustang. So there we go. A lot of them went drag racing. You can get a Cobra Jet 2017, and I believe they actually have a live rear axle rather than the independent. So there we go. 2012 Cobra Jet was powered by a supercharged 430 horsepower 5.4 litre V8 engine, The car was fitted with a 3-speed automatic competition transmission, a fuel return circuit, optimised suspension and extremely powerful racing brakes. The car was $91,900 to $103,980 depending on specification. In 2018, Ford released a new commemorative version, the fastest up to that point, celebrating 50 years. Ford went electric in the 2020s, yuck. And the first 100% electric dragster from the American firm as of 2023, a faster electric version, the Super Cobra Jet 1800, was in development. So you can keep your electric cars. I'm not interested. Electric cars are for radio controlled cars. Petrol engines go in, or gas engines go in proper cars. Right, that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. The Ford GT Mark II now. So in part 14 we looked at the part 3. In pack 14 we looked at the Mark III, and now we're looking at the Mark II. So the Ford GT Mark II was easy to recognise because it has a shorter nose than the cars used in 65. Its other big news was under its rear hood. It's very, very nice indeed. Beautiful race car, and you can see there the engine. I believe it was a 427. You can see here the Le Mans start in 1966. So that's the Sebring, 12 hours of Sebring, not Le Mans, obviously, because you haven't got the big grandstand there. So there we go, and there's the GT40 in the Le Mans 24 hours, and there's a GT prototype in a test session held in July 65 for the following season. You can see a very, very simple shape in comparison to how they actually ended up. And then finally, GT40s here in 1965 at Le Mans. And then again here, passing a Ferrari, there's the black one. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, when you get yours, you can read all about it. Right, so what do we get in pack 15? Let's get the light on. So we get a bag instead of a plastic wallet. So we can just basically come along here and cut the top off this bag. There we go. So we've got a door card, which has a plastic part there we can recycle. We have the, be careful not to snap that off, have the door lock on there. And then here we have a plastic tray. We have some screws, we have some more screws in here. Please come out. There we go. So get rid of that bag, get rid of that away. We've got our screws, so we've got PS11 and PS05. And we have our trim parts there. So let's just quickly check we have all the parts, and we do. So we've got that part there. We have these two parts here. We have the trim for the door, and then we have some screws. We have lots of screws in this. So get ready the interior door panel chrome trim 15D, which is going to be carefully popped out like this. Okay, don't just go and try and rip it out because it's clipped in. Don't go and break it. There we go. So carefully remove that. Alright, so we've got our door trim there. It's going that way up, and we're just going to fit it onto the door panel and just push it down. Okay, and then we're going to come around in the back, and we're going to use our PS12 screws and attach the trim with 4 PS12 screws. That's PS11. Where are my PS12 screws? I appear to be missing some screws. Back in a sec. I bet some of you were shouting at me then. They were in there. They were sat in there like that. So I'll bet some of you were shouting at me because you saw them there and I didn't. So there we go. Right, so we've got some PS12 screws. And we've probably got 5 of them because it said we need 4. Yep, we've got 5 there. So we can pick these up, and one by one we can screw those. Oops, screwdriver slipped. Screw those into there. Again, we're not tapping anything here because it's plastic. We don't cut threads in plastic. We let the screws do that. Okay, so that's that one in there. Then that one's going to go into there. Just go until it stops. There we go. Basically, you can feel when it's not gone in enough. And then that one's, oh come on. It's easier if you put it on the end of the screwdriver. When you've got a magnetic screwdriver, they can be a pain in the bottom. There we go. So if you are watching this from America, please let me know if you've got yours yet, if you've subscribed, if you're interested in subscribing. I mean, if you're a Mustang fan, I know this is a lot of money, and people always comment it's a lot of money, that's all they ever do. Yes, everybody knows it's a lot of money. But I think the fact that you can pay for it, you know, weekly, and that helps, because it's almost like having a finance agreement, isn't it, rather than having to lay all the money out at once. You can't go and buy a big plastic model kit. You can't go and buy a Porsche kit for £10 a week, can you? You've got to lay out the money straight away. But I just think if you're a Mustang fan, this model is a must. I mean, it's a GT500 for one, which is, you know, the best Mustang, in my opinion. And then it's 6 scale. It's absolutely huge. This is going to sit a pride of place on my coffee table in the middle of my living room. It's going to look beautiful next to my 6 scale Harley from Tamiya. Right, so we've done that. So step 15.3. Now take the interior door opening handle 15C and position its circular end on the hole at the right of the interior door handle compartment. 15B is shown. Snap the handle into position and secure it with a PS11 screw. Do not over tighten the screw. The handle must be able to move to simulate opening. Now, as we found out with the driver's door, or the right hand door, should I say, the left hand door, sorry, this doesn't want to come out of here. I wonder how they got that in there, because it really does not want to come out. I think what's happened is the ends have got distorted and they squashed it in. I'm going to have to cut it out, I think. I really don't want to risk breaking it, so I'm just going to, I'll show you how to get it out. Stick the knife through there without cutting yourself. Stick the knife along there, and then we should be able to pull that out. Nope. So what we'll do, we'll cut some more along here, making sure we have our fingers behind there. We'll cut some more up there, and we should be able to lever that out. Wow, this is fun. How to get your parts out. Never mind making the models. The hardest part is getting the parts out of the bloody tray. There we go. That was fun. Right, hopefully you won't have the same problem. And then we've got this little handle here, which is also going to be difficult to get out. I think they've gone over the top with the holding in bits. So they say this handle has to move, but it does absolutely nothing. So don't worry about it too much. So that is basically, we've got that like that. Okay. And this handle is going to slot in like that. Yeah? Is that right? No. They've got that like that. That handle is going in like that. Sorry, that was the wrong way around. And then we've got to get a PS11 screw. One of these here. One of these with the big flange on it. So we're going to get that screw and we're going to screw that into there. Make sure it goes in square. And they're telling us not to tighten it because the handle needs to move, even though the handle does absolutely nothing. There we go. I would have it so it's got a bit of friction. Just like that. So that's gone in there like that. Okay. And now what they're telling us to do is then place the compartment in its housing inside the panel. Note the handle must pass through the rectangular opening on the right. So it's got like this. It's going, I guess it's going in like that. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it, it's going in like that. So we've got the handle there on the inside. Right. And then we're going to come over to the next page and we're going to use 2 PS05 screws. So yes, they give us 3 because we need 2. There's one there and we're going to stick that in that hole there. just like that. There we are. So our handle's in there, it can move freely, and that's that job done. So there we are, that's step 15 done. So we'll put our screws in our Tamiya paint jar, along with all the others. You can see you've got quite a collection going. And we'll put this out for recycling. We'll put those little baggies in the bin. So there we go. So that was steps 14 and 15. We can put our magazine in our magazine holder, which is cool. Okay, and then there's step 14. So we've got our door, and then this door card is obviously going to fit inside there eventually when we come to do steps 16, 17 and 18. So a free gift, or a bonus, we get a mug, and wow, this is lovely. Look at that. It's in the same metallic green as the car, and it's got Shelby on it, Carroll Shelby, and it's got the Cobra on there. So if you're a Mustang enthusiast, that is a beauty to have in your magazine, in your mug cupboard. Very nicely made, very nicely made. I'm wondering if it says anything about dishwasher safe or anything. It doesn't, but we can recycle that box as well. We can throw that bubble wrap in the bin. But that is beautiful. So there we go. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you very, very shortly for parts 16, 17 and 18, and we'll go from there. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.